Okay, we're recording.
Oh, I thought you were going to do the intro immediately.
No,
Okay.
no.
Well, so here's the thing. I'm fucked up here because I have my computer and the work computer. And if I'm on the Gaster Girls thing,
It's gonna be May.
I think it's really
Gonna
easy.
be May.
No, it's going to be you.
No? Okay, I need to mental funny bones cheat sheet because I forget what my lines are. Gastro Girls Planner. What episode is it? Episode 7. Are you ready? Are you ready to do this?
As ready as I'll ever be.
That's what I like to hear. Confidence, confidence. Hello,
Yeah.
and welcome to the Mental Funny Bone, Becoming the Gastro Girls. I'm Christine.
That's where you got stuck on your name?
Yeah, because there was a dinging from my phone, and because I have my headphones on, I couldn't tell if it was from the computer, and I didn't know if it was from like the recording thing or never. Yeah, here I am. I'm Christine.
And I'm Sarah. A big part of this podcast is going to be discussing mental health. However, we are by no means mental health professionals because we can't even help ourselves. We're both
We
going
can't
through
even
it today.
podcast.
So, yeah. So, if you need help, you should seek it elsewhere, like from
Right.
professionals. But what you can do today is just commiserate with us in our brand of crazy. Welcome. Welcome to episode 7.
All right, catch up corner. Oh no, fan mail.
Oh,
Fan
yeah,
mail.
fan mail.
You've
Big
got
week for
mail.
fan mail. You've got mail. We've got fan mail. I got to give my girl Kim a shout out. She sent us an email just to tell us that she loves us and that she wanted to hear her name. So there you go, Kim D. You got
Kim.
it. There's your shout out.
Kim. Love it.
Where's your fucking
Ooh.
dongle, Kim? It was very entertaining for her. And then the next one was from our buddy Rudy. He gave us some great feedback. Basically, just said we're doing great and getting better every week. And that's what we like to hear. We kind of think so. So it's pretty awesome to hear from other people. And he also informed us of his own YouTube channel called Jeeps and Eats. Have you checked it out, Christine?
I haven't, but only because I just saw the email this morning and then I
Oh,
had to
okay.
pretend to work for quite some time today. So,
Okay, fair
but
enough. Fair
but
enough.
I will because I like both of these things. I like
Yeah.
Jeeps and I also like eating, and I
Yes.
think Rudy is one of the most quality human beings on the planet. So, I
All
would
true
love to
things,
check out
all
his
true
YouTube
things.
channel.
I just checked it out real quick yesterday because I just found out about it yesterday. So I haven't had a lot of time to dig in. But what I did get to see about it, there was eating of waffles, which I very much appreciated. And there was the other one I checked out real quick. He was eating some French toast, which also looked freaking delicious. And he takes you on some little rides around the Pittsburgh area in his Jeep, finding different types of terrain to go on. So that's what I've gathered from it thus far. And it looks pretty
I love
cool. And
it.
I'm going to definitely check it out a bit more. Now that you know how to link things in our show notes, I gave you his YouTube channel. Is that? I don't know. I think that's what it is. The link to his YouTubes sounds
I will
dirty, but if you can link up Rudy's YouTubes in there,
I will definitely drive some traffic to Rudy's YouTubes.
awesome. Awesome. So that being said, to the Jeeps, I'm going to go straight into the Jeep docs. Can I go straight into the Jeep docs?
Yeah, do it. Do it. So
The
Jeeps
the
and
Jeep
ducks.
ducks. Have
Jeep
you heard of
ducks.
these?
I have seen the Jeep ducks. Like, as a Jeep owner, I feel like the Jeep duck stuff happened after I
Yes,
got
for
rid of
sure.
my Jeep, which was like
100%.
2004. Because we used to like wave to each
Yeah.
other. We used to give each other like
Yeah.
little Jeep
Little
peace sign. Sup?
yeah.
Yeah, I see you have an impractical vehicle, as do I.
Yes.
I've given you a thumbs up for your inability to manage your gas mileage. So yeah, here you are. So tell me about these ducks.
There's people who are not all about the ducks, but here's my take on the ducks. So the ducks, the story that I read started in 2020 during the pandemic. Some lady, for whatever freaking reason, bought a 20,000 pound bag of ducks. I don't, whatever. And
Wait,
she,
wait.
because that's what one does. When you're feeling a little down and you're stuck at home, you're like, hey, what can I do with
Hey,
this extra income that the government is giving me because everyone's dying? You know what I'll do? I'm going to buy a shit ton of rubber duckies,
hey,
right?
a bag of ducks also sounded remarkably like bag of
Bag of
dicks.
dicks. Yes.
Sorry, carry
Yes.
on. I'm all right now.
That's way better. So this woman
Also,
bought a bag of dicks and she decided to just slap them all over the Jeeps. Here's you get a dick, you get a dick, and you get a dick.
this would make it such a more of an endearing tradition for me.
Congratulations on being a Jeep owner. Here's your dick. Okay, well, the Jeep, I feel like the Jeep Ducks is no longer fun.
Not the Jeep Dicks is the name of this episode.
So,
I can't stop. All right, I'm fine.
all right, so lady buys a stupid amount of Jeep Ducks. You're gonna have to cut out a lot because I can't. I can't. I'm
Oh,
crying. My face is beet red. I am gonna have to take my sweater off because I'm fucking sweating now. Okay.
all right, ducks,
Pull it
ducks.
together. Ducks, ducks, ducks. Okay. So lady
It's the
buys ducks.
pandemic.
It's the pandemic. I don't know what makes her do it, but she writes a little note and attaches it to the duck that just says, "Have a nice day." Puts it on a Jeep. Guy comes out of the store, picks it up. He's like, what the hell is this? But he sees the note and the note makes him happy. I guess he goes and buys a bag of ducks and starts putting them on Jeep. So that's the story I read, right? So, but here's the thing. A couple weeks ago, my eyelash girl, shout out to Tessa because she better be listening. She was
That
telling me
bitch.
that in their little salon area that someone brought in ducks and put them all over the place, and this is a thing. You give people ducks to brighten their day, but obviously these people don't have Jeeps. They're just like they're doing hair and lashes and faces and shit. So it may have gone from the Jeeps just to giving ducks. I thought it was strange that I heard of this in two different places, two different ways. Anyway, so the ducks is just a way to cheer people up. But I did find a forum, a Jeep forum, where there are some very, very strong opinions about the ducks.
Oh no.
Someone went as far, I'm sure there's worse than this, but the one I found was someone took a picture of a duck in a Toyota Highlander and was like, what the fuck is the duck doing in the Toyota Highlander? That's a Jeep thing.
Oh.
So they were mad about that. And then somebody else was like, those ducks are stupid and making Jeeps look stupid. That should be a Bronco thing. And then somebody else sent a big turd emoji about the Broncos. It was a lot. It was a lot. I ran across somebody kind of sane, and they were like, what is wrong with all of you people? Who cares about the ducks? If they're making
Right.
someone else happy, they're not hurting you.
Again. Again, this is just a microcosm for our society. Why do we all have to have an opinion about something?
Why?
Why can't you just get on with your day? Because
I
I
think the
have
ducks
an
are
opinion.
adorable. It's
I think they're
great.
dumb.
Good. Right.
But I'm not going to interfere. I'm going to make fun of it. I'm not going to interfere with anybody's happiness. I'm going to be like, that seems
Yeah.
stupid. I would never put a toy in somebody else's vehicle. But
Right.
more
The one
power to you,
dude,
duck people.
the one dude was like, I couldn't care less, but my one buddy has super strong opinions of it. So I just ordered a shitload of ducks on Amazon and I figure they'll last me about 3 years and I'm just going to randomly put him on his Jeep all the time.
I can see like back in the day me coming out of someplace and just being so cranky about whatever had just happened and finding a duck on my car and just winging it across an
Yeah,
Arizona parking lot and injuring
exactly.
another person for sure.
I feel like if this happened when we were in Arizona, I would have I wouldn't have ordered anything on Amazon because I'm pretty sure the internet was still in its infancy. I
You
would have
could
gone
get
to
books.
Target and I would have got rubber duckies, and I would have put those bitches all over your Jeep waiting for you.
Right. Yes,
That's
this is
exactly
what,
what I thought.
and I would have been in the parking lot like, God, now I
Yeah.
have ducks all over
I would
my
have called
car.
off work to do that because I called off work to
Right.
do everything.
I called I called off work to play games and eat salsa.
Eat salsa.
This
Sarah,
stuff
why
is
didn't you
so
go to work
good.
today? Because this salsa was so good. I
So
couldn't
good.
peel myself away. I stopped eating it so I could sleep, but then I woke up and was like, "Oh wow, there's still salsa here. I think I'll call off work."
Not going to work.
In my defense,
Oh,
I was working at daycare, and I don't particularly like small children.
there were a lot of bad decisions made in the 90s. I feel
Bad
like
decisions
the
all over the place.
like that one Friday morning, casual Friday, that we stopped at the mini mart and got those giant tubs of soda,
Uh huh.
and then I dumped mine on my lap
Yeah,
because
that was
I'm
I
cat.
didn't. I laughed at you, and then I felt so bad that I sent you flowers. Was that what I did?
I
Is that why I
I
sent you
can't
flowers?
remember. I can't remember if it was that time or another time. Like I think I was genuinely upset about something when I got the flowers. Like the soda, I was just like,
I'm not sure why I connect the soda and the flowers. I'm like, I
maybe I
really
was genuinely upset about it.
I'm really hoping that I sent you flowers because of the soda, and I like wrote on the card, "Sorry, you spilled your pop all over you."
Right. And I here's the thing that made me so upset about it is that I was wearing like a really cute 90s mini skirt with cargo pockets. It was khaki
Yeah,
and I had bought it at the Old Navy and I was
of course you
wearing
did.
I believe if memory serves, I was also wearing a white turtleneck
White,
sweater with no
100%,
sleeves.
100%.
And I was so excited to wear that outfit to work. Like I was such a cool kid. Like, oh, look, I'm cool and I fit in. And I should have known then what became abundantly clear to me this week at work that I will never in a
Hold
million
on,
years be the cool kid.
we'll segue into your work thing right now. However, I have to ask: Were you wearing the Steve Madden black like
No.
platform shoes? Do you know what I speak of?
Yeah, I do know what
The
you're talking
thing,
about, but no,
the
I was wearing. You finish your thought, and then I'll tell you what I was actually wearing because I think it'll be funnier. Off you go.
I w-
Well,
I was just gonna say I almost said Mark Madden instead of Steve Madden. Steve
oh
Madden's the
yeah,
shoe guy, right?
Mark Madden's the sportscaster.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he wasn't. He has never designed a shoe.
I was wearing Doc Marten clogs, open-toed clogs, but I was really wearing Doc Martens because I was just a bit edgier.
Right, for sure.
Right, I
That's
was so
exactly what
excited.
I think of you. Is edgy.
Edgy, right? Everybody does.
Yes. Yep.
Or I was trying really hard to be edgy, and I just wasn't. Which might have been why I was so excited about that outfit and why I thought I was so cool, and
I
why
mean, it was a cute outfit.
right, and why I had a breakdown, and probably that's why you bought me flowers.
That's probably it.
Um, about what we could call our listeners.
Oh yeah.
Because, like my favorite murder, they have murderinos.
Oh
Um,
yeah.
the Kelsey brothers have the 92 percenters or whatever
You know
number,
what?
the 86 percenters,
I was just gonna say it's always the fucking numbers that fuck with me because I 97 percenters,
25
92 percenters.
percenters.
I don't
I don't
so
know.
confused percenters, but the Kelsey brothers have percenters.
Right.
So
And
what are our people gonna
morbid.
be?
So the name of our podcast is the Mental Funny Bone. So
Please, they're
obviously,
gonna be the boners.
that is exactly what they are. Hey, funny boners.
Hey, funny boners. 100%. I am almost upset that you thought of it and I didn't. This
I am there. Come crying.
makes me love you so much more. Well,
Do you know
welcome,
how
funny
long?
boners.
Well, funny boners. Like it's gonna. Like we were here We were
Oh yeah.
here. It was a comedy podcast, obviously, but with the fact that we can begin things with, "Hey, funny boners, up here. We are
I
top."
I can't wait. This week when this episode drops, we're gonna have to announce that our listeners are now known as the funny boners.
Oh my gosh, I can't wait.
I feel like that'll
Hello,
draw in
social media.
some people listeners. I feel like that'll draw in some people
Right.
because everybody
Especially
wants to be a funny boner.
when we start tossing around stuff like Jeep dicks.
like like bag of ducks, bag of dicks, Jeep dicks.
Bag, bag of Jeep dicks.
You get a dick. You get a dick.
These dicks make everyone happy. So funny. All right. Yeah. So back to,
Okay.
okay, funny boners. I'm going to tell you a story about what happens when one of the Gaster girls goes to the Big Apple. So this week I had a work conference in New York City, which is fun. I like New York. We are in Manhattan. We are across the street from Madison Square Garden. Always kind of a cool, kind of hip place to be. And the older I get, the less I care that I don't look like I fit in. Like, I look like someone who has just wandered in
Like you're lost. What's
from
this
the
little girl
country.
doing?
Right. I should just tape money to myself on the outside. That way no one has to bother picking my pocket. It would just be
Yeah.
easier for all of us. You know who is worse in New York City is my boss.
Yeah.
Right. And she took a train. So I took a plane and an Uber. So I'm already at the conference. She's texting me and she's like, "Hey, can you find Penn Station?" And I was like, "Yes, because that's the basement of Madison Square Garden. So I am looking at the only hockey-shaped building here and I can just go to the basement. So yeah, I can find you." She's like, "Excellent, because I think I'm having an anxiety attack."
You had to go save her.
And this is the same lady who, when we were in Chicago, there's signs all over Chicago. There's signs all over O'Hare Airport that say, "If a guy asks you if you need a ride, you should not take that ride."
Oh yeah. She took the ride, didn't she?
She was like, "Yeah, let's go with him." I was like, "We're not. No, no." And we saw that guy being chased by like transit authority. Here's what happens. My boss and I get to the conference. We eat lunch. The conference is good. It's time to take pictures. So I'm short, so I'm in the front row. The people who are running it are like, "Should we have chairs? It feels like it's too wide. We should have chairs. Let's get some chairs." So somebody brings up a chair. I'm like, "Well, I'll sit in the chair." So I turn around to sit in the chair. And then we decide while I'm turning around that we're not having chairs. So I don't realize that we're not having chairs until the one guy pulls the chair away while I'm sitting down. And I hear from behind me, "Oh, no, 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 no." And then I kind of realize what's happening. And I'm like, I'm going to fall. I'm going to fall in super slow mo in front of this whole gathering of people who are very successful in my field. Right? I'm going to fall in front of them. I'm wearing a skirt. No, I'm wearing a dress to make it even worse. That shit is gathered right around the top of my thighs. Like, thank God, because it
I
was
was
so
gonna
close
say,
to
oh.
me. Like these guys almost saw my butt. Almost, which is the only saving grace. So I fall on my ass. I fall backwards. I hit my head. Everyone, 75 people at this conference go,
Please tell
and
me
then
there was one person
there's
laughing.
no, no, there was not. And then there was silence while I decided what I was going to do. And I was like, can I make it to the door to catch an Uber to go to the airport to fly to a remote deserted island and never ever come back? Can I do that? No, I'm not going to be able to make it to the door. Everyone's looking at me. So then I'm like, "Oh my goodness, that's so funny." Now I'm laughing, and everyone else is okay to laugh. But at the same time, I'm like, I hurt my elbow and my butt and my head,
My head
and everyone's
hurts.
like, "Are you okay?" I'm like, "Oh yeah, I'm fine. I'm fine. Yeah, just a bruised ego. Just."
Yeah.
And then, we have to continue with the conference. So we have to take the picture, and my face in the picture looks like this.
And it's beet red.
Right, right. It looks like I'm wearing a pained expression
Can
where
you
I
share that
might
photo with me?
cry. Yes, I'll see if I can find it because we're not putting it anywhere, but I will show you. So then, like, the conference goes on, like, people are talking around me, and there's a presentation, and I'm sitting at my little spot, and I'm like, well, I'm fine with this. Nobody cares. I'm fine. I didn't get hurt. No one will remember. I don't need to move to some
Yeah,
out of the way South American country
right.
that's in the midst of political upheaval right now.
Right.
I don't have to do that. I'm okay. And then the guy is still up there talking, and I'm like, well, what I should do is, if I'm truly over it, then I don't need to text my sister and tell her what happened. And then as I sit there, I start to feel like big tears in my eyes because I am
Oh.
so embarrassed. And I'm like, I'm never going to be able to go to another conference ever as long as I live. In fact, I should just find a different profession. Hopefully, this fucking podcasting stuff works out so that I don't have to go to any more data management conferences. But then I started texting Sarah. I'm like, I fell. The exact text exchange, but I think I see you
I
pulling it
actually
up.
have it here. So we're talking about something and you say, also also I fell in front of this entire conference, to which I ha ha at.
Of
And
course.
my response, I think that's some, and then you said, so I might die. I'm wearing a dress. And I said, whoa, work is stupid. This will
Yes.
make for podcast gold. You said, to that, you said, luckily no one cares about me. I said, I'm going to
Right.
start with reading this text exchange.
Right.
Oh my God.
So
Yeah. And then you tell me the whole story. So
that's
then I
what.
said, so I'm fucking dying. And then I said, no, I mean, are you okay? But listen, I think I came back here and I said, own that shit. You need to figure out a way to get back at that guy who pulled the chair out from under you.
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, I'll see him in September for sure because his company is hosting something, and there's a really long escalator that goes down into a giant conference space. I'm pretty sure that that guy's gonna fall down that escalator.
I feel like there's something to be said about a group of 75 people that watch someone fall and nobody laughs. Because I
Right.
definitely would have fucking laughed, whether I know you or not. Yeah. I wouldn't have been able to wait until you laughed. I would have just laughed.
This is the profession I work in. Everyone was like, "Oh goodness." Yeah, and even in their heads, they weren't like, "Oh fuck, that girl fell." They were like, "Oh my goodness, what has happened?"
I would have laughed
Right.
and been like, did somebody record it? Can we watch that
He,
again?
here's the thing. There was somebody at that conference. It was really critical that I talk to, and I didn't have a way to get an introduction to that person. So usually what
Bingo.
happens is, right, I was like, I'm so sorry to bother you. I can see you're having another conversation, but did you see me fall? Like, did
Did you?
everybody see?
You know when I fell? Did you see my undies? Just wondering. I know I'm
Like,
wearing a dress. Just trying to
I'm just
gauge,
trying
see
to
what everybody
gauge
got a view of.
out of that. Yeah. All right. So tell me about the time you raced two high school kids in your car.
Bad decisions. Bad decisions. Bad emotionally driven decisions made all over the place. So I pick Owen up every day, him and a buddy, from Parkway, which is our technical school. And after I pick him up, and there are also children, high school students, leaving the facility at the same time. And on our way home, we're on a Steubenville Pike, which is a little 4-lane kind of highway thing with lots of stoplights. And for the past week, these two individuals get in front of me. One's in a little tiny blue souped up Subaru. The kids are like, yeah, all his shit's blacked out. I don't know what that means, but I don't know.
His windows are tinted.
I don't know. But it makes loud noise and it's dumb. It looks dumb. And the other kid is in a truck that also makes loud noise and is dumb. All right. So these two kids, they get in front of everybody. This has happened a few times on our way home. They get in front of everybody at one of the stoplights. Then they go really slow to the next stoplight. And then from that stoplight, they go really slow, continue to go really slow. And the lanes go down to one. So they race from the second stoplight to where the lanes go down to one to see who can win. I guess is what they do. Bottom line is they hold up 2 lanes of traffic a ridiculous amount at 2:15 in the afternoon on a fairly busy road in Robinson. So I've had an irritating time getting there. I'm irritated already getting out of there, and these two kids want to start with this bullshit. And I was like, I'm done. I'm fucking done with these two. And there's probably 5 cars ahead of me before we get to these two dickwads. And we come up on there's a turning lane that's going right. So I'm like, fuck it. I'm getting in the right lane. I'm getting in that lane and I'm zooming past these motherfuckers because I've had enough. And that's exactly what I did. I get in that lane, floor it. You know, me and my Hyundai,
In
Mom
your
Palisade coming
SUV.
through.
Skirt,
Right,
skirt.
right. And I guess they see me coming. So they're like, well, fuck it. We're not going slow anymore. We're going to race this bitch. So I almost get in an accident because I have to get in front of them because I have to. So I do beat them in that sense. But then we get to the next stop where they actually normally do their racing and they go around me and get in front of me, which is fine. But I am at this point fucking shaking. Shaking. I'm so annoyed with these two assholes. And I have 2 teenage kids in the car with me. And I'm like, I don't know what
Is
lesson to teach you guys right now.
wrong with
No,
you?
the lesson I need to teach you is this whole racing shit is dumb. I don't know what they're doing, but that was dumb. And what I just did is really dumb. Like bad decisions all over the place. And then I try to catch up with them and take pictures of their license plate to send into the school. Anyway, I did not report these kids because Owen was like, Mom,
Right.
really?
Oh, and your mom called the school.
Yeah, your mom's a dick. Right, right. So yeah, so I raced some kids.
Do you think that you have irritability issues?
Yeah. Well, then I went yesterday and I was like, okay, I'm going to be very calm. And so I'm working on it. I'm working on it. I need to breathe. I get highly irritated very quickly. So this is something I've made note of that I need to
Right.
just breathe and not make sudden irrational decisions.
Right. So before we get into the growing up gaster story of the week, I had to fill out all of my paperwork because I have not one, but 2 appointments with psychiatrists this week.
That's awesome. I love them.
Because using the resources that I put into the show notes last week, I accidentally clicked on one of the links. And
Hey.
and I now have an in-person psychiatrist appointment in addition to an online psychiatrist appointment.
I think these are all amazing things.
Yes. So, what I'm hoping to do is line up some medication management should the psychiatrist and I get to the place where we feel like we need that. And I will have some talk therapy that I can do online.
Right. Which is good. It's very good. And we need to help each other with ways to I need help just figuring out how to keep focus on shit. Like there's just a lot. There's a lot. And I don't think it's ADD. I think there's just a lot. And I am not good at, you know, like I just, yeah.
Doing that. You're not good at focusing on things. Yeah. That is what I am hoping to get out of not only the medication management, but also
Yeah.
some of the talking and the therapy. Like,
Yeah.
how do I,
I
how
need some
do
coping
I,
mechanisms.
how do I not go, well, there goes the day at 9:15 in the morning
Right.
and then just kind of throw in the towel. I made some really good progress last week in setting up some tools to help me get my shit done. So every day there's a little to-do list. There's a to-do list, like Microsoft to-do list with 4 things that absolutely have to get done. So even today there are 4 things that absolutely have to get done. I did 2 of them, so that
Ooh,
means when we hang up the phone today, I still need to do those 2 things before I can log off. So hopefully
yeah.
I will be able to concentrate later.
My
It's
hope
nice that
was,
then I can cross them off. I can click them
yeah,
and then a line goes through them and it makes me happy in a
I
way
like
that
that.
it shouldn't.
I like that a
Yeah.
lot. It really does make me happy. I have two more things that I wanted to get done today. Realistically, I cannot get those two things done at this point, but I might be able to get one. So I'm hoping that this little recording will make me not feel like my head is exploding. Like I feel like this is my therapy. This is my stepping away. And
Yeah.
when we're done, I can go back to it and maybe get it done.
The good news is, for me, tomorrow doesn't start until 9 a.m.
Oh,
tomorrow.
that's good.
So that is the beginning of the day. So if I look at it and I'm like, I'm just not going to get these 2 things done, then I have 2 hours tomorrow morning before 9 a.m. to get them done. Where I
Yeah.
would consider them, where I would consider today being a success. And maybe that's one of the tricks is that I don't necessarily have to force myself to focus on these things tonight as long as I can get them done tomorrow and still meet whatever dumb goal I have in my head.
Dumb goal.
Right. Performance. This is performance based thinking. So I got thinking about sports, and then I got thinking about your parents' approach to us playing sports.
Yeah.
So now, again, there are 5 years difference between the two of us. And as evidenced by the fact that I fall down almost everywhere I go, it took a little bit for me to be an athlete. So I was not a naturally gifted player of any sport. And we tried hard. Like we went to
But you were
basketball camp
good. You were good at soccer. I feel like you
eventually.
had
And
a natural something there.
no, because you don't remember me playing when I was 10. You
Okay.
remember me playing when I was 15.
Okay. Okay. Keep going. I see. I see.
Right. Right. When I would get on the field and I would immediately fall down. And poor Stan Muir,
Oh, good old
that
Stan
guy
Muir.
that guy had the patience of a saint.
Mm-hmm.
Goodness. Yeah, I was essentially a cone for like the first 10 years I played sports. But Nita and Jumbo, they would always go to the games, and I think Nita was just trying to keep us busy, making sure we didn't get into the drugs.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
They would show up for the games, like
Yeah,
they were happy. They were happy to do it. They were happy to be there. They were happy to hand out orange slices and
for sure.
towels and all of that. I feel like they kind of developed a sense of what sports meant after like maybe sophomore junior year of high school for me. So you came up and you were good. Like you had some natural abilities to be on the soccer field, like a natural athlete. And people were like, "Hey, can Sarah come play for my team? Can Sarah do this thing?" So Nita and Jumbo kind of snuck into it. And I think one of the first tests of their commitment to our athletic endeavors was when we went to this tournament in Slippery Rock. Do you remember this? I had to
Oh,
be like
100%.
50. It had to be the summer before I turned 16. Like I was probably
Mm-hmm.
15 because this was the beginning of the summer. It was the
That
end of
would,
the spring soccer season.
yeah, it would make me, what, like 11? That seems right. I still had kind of short hair. I know I was really into New Kids on the Block. Like
You
these are
were
things
new
I
kids,
remember. Yeah, yeah. I still had braces. It was, yeah.
right?
Hmm.
You were hideous.
I was
No,
very
you were.
hideous.
I mean, it was, most people have an extended period of hideousness. You were a beautiful child and you were a gorgeous teen. I think there was like 6 months in between where we were like, why was she cut her hair like that? No
Yikes.
one knows.
No, there was a few years. There was
Jeez.
a few years of rocky roads.
She's
What
going
is
to
she
be all right.
doing? Why is she wearing
So,
those MC Hammer pants with our mom's pink sweater? So weird.
What is what is she doing with that cap? What kind of jaunty driving chapeau is she wearing? What is happening?
Oh
All right,
man.
so end of the season soccer tournament. We were just like every team that I played on, kind of hapless. We won some, we lost some. You know, so we go to this tournament. The players are staying in the dorm. And I can't remember if the parents were staying in the dorm. Like it was at Slippery Rock University, which is
It
a state
was.
college in Pennsylvania. Do you remember? Did you guys stay at a hotel? I don't think so.
I think we did stay at a hotel. I don't remember. The only time I remember staying in the dorms was when I actually played. And I
Right.
wasn't in a tournament that weekend. It was just we were just there for you. But then again, I don't remember a lot of shit. I mean, I remember that tournament, but you could offer me $1,000,000 and I couldn't tell you where the fuck we slept.
So yeah, I'm pretty sure that you guys were in a hotel and we stayed in the dorms, and it was the best thing that had ever happened to any of
Oh
us. Like
yeah.
it was the furthest away that most of that team had ever been from home,
So
and there
cool.
were some kids there whose parents weren't even there. Like they were at this tournament all by themselves. We were like camped up in these dorm rooms. We were talking to the boys teams that were there.
Mhm.
Like I made really good friends with some foreign exchange students,
Yeah.
as you do.
Questionable.
As you do. I was like, how far away is Bentleyville from Elizabeth? It seems far.
Those were the foreign exchange
Anyway,
students that you met. They're from Bentleyville.
right, like from Bentleyville. I was like, that doesn't seem nearly as far away as Spain. Okay,
Weird.
all right. But we kept winning, which was unusual. And the whole plan was we were going to go to this tournament. We were going to leave there on Sunday morning. And, because obviously we're going to lose out. We're going to play two games on Saturday, lose that last one on Sunday, and then hit the road. But what actually happened is we kept winning. So we won all three games and then had to play. We had to play like the last championship game, and that one was scheduled for like the last game of the entire tournament. So by the time we finish up, it's 5 o'clock and we're going on vacation. So the car's packed with all of the vacation stuff. If you were in a hotel, you had checked out. What happened then was I asked if I could take a shower. Can I go to the dorms and take a shower? And
You weren't allowed in the
like,
dorms.
everyone was like, no, no, no. Well, some people were going to go and just take a shower. But Jumbo was like, we got to go.
We
We
got
have
to
an
get on the
8 hour
road.
drive. We have to get to Duck, North Carolina. We have a rented house. This is one day of the vacation that we're wasting. But, we still took all the pictures, and Jumbo is willing to sacrifice a
Yeah.
day of vacation so that I can stand there with my little medal. And then we had to take like a ton of pictures,
Oh yeah.
ones where you're laying on the ground but you haven't fallen there, where you're intentionally laying down and putting your hand on your chin. Championship pictures, we get all those taken, but there's no showering because now it's time to go, 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 go.
Hmm.
And Jumbo was one of those dads that wouldn't let you pee as often as
Yeah.
you wanted to pee.
No. Everybody had a
We
urinary tract infection by the time we got to where we were going.
Right, right. Yeah, girls, can you
Burns
hold
when I
it?
pee.
Can you hold it?
Mommy just packed
Just
extra
keep
cranberry juice.
just keep holding it.
You could pee when we
So
get there
now
and then just chug cranberry juice all week. You'll be fine.
you're fine. Stop complaining. I'm hungry. No, you're not. Here's
No.
to eat these Twizzlers. Don't drink anything. I'm so thirsty. Stop eating the chips. Anyway, so I have played a bunch of games of soccer, and most of those wins, I think, were due to the fact that I was wearing my lucky socks. So I hadn't changed socks for 4 games of soccer. And it's not like little kid soccer. I am a 15-year. I'm a grown person who's sweaty and smelly.
Yep.
So we get in the car and I take off my shin guards and they smell like cat pee. And I put my sweaty socks up because that's how I rode in the car, with my socks up on the headrest next to your dad. And we got like maybe an hour into the drive and he is like, I don't know what that smell is.
Oh, it was
What
the
is that
most
smell?
outrageous smell. I mean, I can still smell it now. What, 36 years later? I can still smell it. and it was the most god awful smell. The feet odor that you give off, and I'm saying give off because your feet are still
My feet are smelly.
raunchy. Like,
Right. I will ruin a pair of
ugh.
shoes
Oh,
so
it is
bad. So bad.
something amazing. It should win a record of some sort.
So we have to stop. We have to pull over on the side of the road
Mm-hmm.
so that I can take my socks off and
Mm-hmm.
put my socks in the trunk. My feet still stink, but at least you don't have the concentrated fermented smell of four
Of the
games of soccer
socks.
socks.
Oh, it
We
was
put my shoes
terrible.
back there too because I'm pretty sure that needed to happen.
Yeah.
And my shoes were made of plastic. They
Yeah.
were guaranteed bought at the Kmart and they were made of
Payless.
plastic. Something like holding all of that sweat in and just boiling it into the socks. So nasty.
I'm really gonna
Anyway,
throw up.
so after that, Jumbo had 7 more hours to drive. We got there at like midnight, and I can only assume that Jumbo had started that day with a really desperate hangover
Mm-hmm.
and had to drive straight through. He said that he started hallucinating
Yeah.
around where we got into North Carolina.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It was a hell of a trip.
So So that should give you a little bit of a background for how the Gaster household appreciated athletics. No one
Yeah.
got too serious about it. No one got too uptight about it. Nita and Jumbo were happy to go on the tournaments. They were happy for you to play ODP. Like Jumbo would come down and try to catch as many Bethany games as they could. I mean,
For sure.
they were
I
just
think
kind of
they
there. No
always
one.
made sure we were they were at our games. Like,
Yeah.
it, at least that was my impression. I don't know if I made that up, but I feel like there was always a plan for them to be at our games. And I know even at Slippery Rock, they were one of them at least was always at one was always at our games. Even the ones that were like far away, they were the traveling parents. But when I started playing competitively, we stopped going on vacation because that's all we
Yeah.
did all summer was play soccer, and that also cost money. So it was kind
Right.
of our vacation. And to them, it was like a vacation because they just
Well,
drank and
yeah.
hung out with their buddies the whole time.
So you should tell the people, you should tell the boners about your soccer resume because I don't think that we have filled them in yet on what a star athlete you were.
Back in the day, I was a star athlete. Yeah, so I played soccer from the time I was, what, 5 is when we started playing? I don't know. Good old EFSA. Anyway, and then I started playing pretty competitively when I got into junior high, and then got more into it as I went into high school, and it's pretty much all I did throughout high school. Played on different teams all year round. Mommy and daddy were always super supportive of it. Kind
Olympic
of a
development, beadling, like don't be shy.
Yeah,
Scholarship to
so I
Slippery
played I
Rock.
played for Beadling, which back then was a big deal. Still a big, I don't know. But yeah, so I played for Beadling and for ODP, which is pretty much PA West, the state team. In my first game for PA West, I scored for the other team. I was on the B team and I scored for the other team. And then the next tournament, I was on the A team. So I guess I dealt with it okay.
Hey, a goal's a goal. A goal's a goal.
I can remember turning around looking at daddy, and daddy was just like head in hands, like, fuck, like you're kicked off. Anyway, but mommy and daddy were always the fun parents that were with us.
Right.
So that's how they were known to everyone else. And that's pretty much how they were to me. We always had fun. Quitting for me was really rough though because of that. Because I really had a problem in letting them down. I probably wanted to quit long before I actually quit, but I felt like that was going to cause problems, especially considering that I did get a soccer scholarship. Not that it was like a ton or anything, but yeah, so that was really hard when I decided to walk away from it. And fairly certain that mommy didn't talk to me for a few weeks. I think she'll deny that, but I'm pretty sure she did. But now, being a soccer mom, I mean, Owen doesn't even play that competitively. And I think if he quit, I'd be sad too. So I get it. But
Yeah.
never were they overly, yeah, never were they crazy about it. I think they always made it very clear that we didn't have to play.
Right. Yeah. Like I never even remember it being a discussion. Like Mom, Nita would be like, "Hey, soccer signups are this week." Like, okay,
Sounds good.
sounds good. Stan wants to know if you want to play at Manor with the kids. I'm like, yeah,
Ah,
yeah,
I
I
forgot
do.
about Manor.
Ah, it's so fun. So fun. It was plywood covered with what's the indoor outdoor astroturf. It was
Yeah,
like rocks covered with sandpaper, and that's what we played on. They're
it
like,
was
"Hi,
rough.
welcome."
I think that's where I got hit in the face that led to my job popping situation.
Oh my god, that ball was so small. Like, I don't even know where you got this, but I don't even know what sport this was because it wasn't futsal, it wasn't indoor
Yeah.
soccer. I think it was just a made up. They had like a 2 pound medicine ball. It was this
Do you
big, and you
remember?
would just kick it.
But
Yes.
anyway, so yeah, so athletics were a part, it's definitely a part of our lives. Unfortunately, I got burnout. And by the end of it, it wasn't really my place to escape. It was more like, yeah, I didn't really like it anymore.
I think your mom and dad kept taking me to these activities because it was a way to get me to socialize. Let's socialize this weird one and make sure she's all right. Let's get her around other kids.
I don't know. I think they liked being around other people too.
Yeah, I'm
I
pretty
think
sure
it
that
worked for
had
all of
something to
us.
do with it.
And mommy liked doing the booster shit.
Oh yeah, Nita was always so involved.
Yeah.
You can't fault her for that because if they needed a volunteer, she was the first hand that shot up into the air. Well, I think that was it. I just wanted to cover our athletic resumes and how the two of us approached how we approached sports and how our parents approached sports. So for me, I was clumsy and kind of awkward until I really settled in and decided that I was going to be good at soccer. Going to college, this was a godsend for me. And being able to go early, being able to make a few friends, and these people ended up being my friends. I could still call a couple of them today and be like, "Hey, what's going on?" So taking that experience into college really made a difference for me, but it was always really really positive. I wanted to succeed, and a lot of the stuff that I got out of sports was learning how to get along with a group of people, learning how to compete, learning how to kind of balance all of the things that are happening in my life. It added like that extra little bit that would keep me and my brain busy, I think.
Yeah, I
So yeah, for
definitely got
me,
that, like, because being on the different teams and going out of my comfort zone, because a lot of like going to ODP, that was a big thing. And I went by myself. There were hundreds of girls who went there to try out, and I went by myself. I didn't know anybody. And that's how I ended up at Beanling, because I met girls there. So I think that that was definitely a pivotal moment in my life in learning how to make friends and build relationships. And feel like those experiences were huge.
right. Yeah, I think for both of us, it was on the whole a positive thing.
Hmm.
Like it was
Very
on the
much.
whole a positive experience. There were things that you had to work through, and not being captain or not getting an award you thought you were going to get, and
Listen, that was
those are
bullshit in high school. I should have been captain my senior year. How the fuck are you captain junior year and then you get it stripped from you your senior year? What a load of shit. I still call bullshit. Fuck off.
I listen, I wasn't captain in high school, but I was captain in college twice,
Yeah.
bitches.
I honestly,
Anyway, on the whole,
I
a very
deserve to be
positive
stripped.
experience. But to get into some of the other competitive environments, like for us, I feel like it was overall a positive experience. It
Yes.
wasn't too much performance focused. Like, I can remember getting in the car after a bad game and Jumbo being like, "You know what you did wrong," and I'm like, "Yeah, I already know what I did wrong. There's nothing you're going to be able to say that's going to, you know, sorry. Yes, I'm a lazy piece of shit, and I wouldn't get back on defense."
There we go.
You know, but it was never like affection was never withheld or contingent upon us either playing or doing well. Like I never got into the car feeling like I was a piece of shit.
Never.
All right, so why don't you talk a little bit about Simone Biles and pageant winners? I have some articles to reference, and I want to talk about my black and blue guy in hockey.
Yeah, you probably have more. I mean, I just wanted to mention these because they're things that I heard on the Good Morning America. and just
I love
thought,
it.
interesting. It's just more of what we're hearing today about people bringing mental health to the forefront of things. And that's what these individuals are doing. Like Simone Biles, when she withdrew. Okay, so here's another thing. So, so I'm reading about her online, and it talks about how she withdrew from the 2020 Tokyo Olympics or parts of them. And I was like, wait, I don't. Well, hold on. So I go to, and I'm looking up articles, and it's like 2021, and that's the date on it. And then it's talking about like, this is like now, like then, like, oh, on Thursday she did this. And I was like, wait, it was the 2020 Olympics. It had me so confused. So the 2020
Ha!
Olympics actually didn't happen until the summer of 2021.
Right.
But they still
We had a
refer to them as the
pandemic.
2020 Olympics. Right. So confused last night. I was like, wait a second. I thought it was 2020 that this happened. No, it was 2021. So, anyway, some cool things I learned. Do you know what the twisties are in gymnastics?
No.
Okay. So the twisties are where you get all fucked up when you're in the middle of a twist and don't like you lose your what's the word?
Awareness, spatial
Yeah,
awareness.
spatial awareness. Exactly. So it's a common thing. It's like a common mental thing in gymnastics are the twisties. And so when you're up doing the twist, you get all kind of confused and it fucks with your head a little bit. So anyway, that was one of the reasons that she cited for pulling out of some of the events that she did in the Olympics. Now you have to understand, you know who Simone Biles is. She's literally, let me make sure I state this properly, the most decorated gymnast in history.
Right.
Like
Yes.
she has 37 Olympic and world championships. So she's kind of a big deal. She's definitely worked hard and she's proven it. And I think that a lot of the times we put people on these pedestals and we forget that they're real human beings too.
Right.
And we want to just
Well,
keep pushing them and pushing them and pushing them. And then when they decide, I need to take a step back because I'm really fucked up right now and I need to put my health in front of what's going on. When she decided to do that in 2021, not 2020, 2021, she got a lot of shit for it. That she was bowing out because she was afraid she was going to lose, that she was bowing out because she was a big crybaby quitter, all of that. The good news is she also had a lot of support behind her, and other gymnasts came forward and I guess kind of held her up through that. And one of the reasons that it took her so long to do what she did, she pushed through a lot of things throughout her career. And she didn't want to do this because she didn't want to end up where she is right now, which is kind of an advocate for mental health awareness. And the reason she didn't want to be in that position is because she says, I don't even know what I'm doing. Like, I'm still working through my own shit. Not her words, but basically she's saying,
right.
I can't even, I'm still working through my own shit. How am I supposed to help other people? Which is something that I kind of thought was interesting because of what we do. Because I
Right.
always say, I don't even know how to help
I don't know
myself.
what I'm doing.
But on the other side of that, she said, but I'm now embracing it because at least I'm a voice for other people to listen to and we can go through this together. So I
Right.
thought that was kind of cool. And
I
again,
do
I
like that.
started thinking about mental health and physical health. Like if she went out there and broke her leg and her bone was
It's the
sticking out of her
best.
leg, everybody like, "Ooh, that hurts. Ooh, you better take care of yourself." But because it's something that other people can't see and other people can't get an idea of the pain or turmoil that's going on inside, we tend to discredit it. And
Yeah,
I know we'll talk
100%.
about it eventually, but this isn't just in sports. This is everywhere
Yeah.
that
I
we do
mean,
this.
it's some of the things that we take as a narrative from sports are you have to be tough. Like you got to be tough. You got to work through the workout. You got to do things that are hard. And it's interesting because Olivia and I have had these discussions a lot. Like I was not an outstanding soccer parent for a long time. I was a you got to you have to play. You have to play. I it's not like I won't love you any less, but I might love you just a little bit less if you don't play. And I might love you a little bit less if you aren't the best one on the team. And it might seem like, and she would get in the car and I would be like, listen, you got to do A, you got to do B, you got to do C. And there's something inside me that just didn't even realize what I was doing. And she was like 6, 8, 10, like not not old enough to have like a fully developed brain where she could even understand what I was asking her to do. And it didn't really make it any better when Olivia had her breakdown. Like, me being a terrible soccer parent didn't really things positively. And I didn't even realize how bad I was. Like, she'll tell you I wasn't that bad, but looking back on it, I do feel like I was a bad soccer parent because I was confusing teaching lessons that I felt were important to learn through sports with being good at the sport. Like, you can learn how to be a good team player. You can learn how to work through adversity, all while being decent at soccer. Like, you don't have to be the best. You don't have to have that kind of performance mindset if you're looking at these are the things that are important to me. Being able to finish a workout, being able to perform at practice. But also, those are the things that if you take them too far, get confused with being mentally tough. Like, there's a lesson I wanted Olivia to learn in that, hey, just because you don't feel like running, you can't sit on the sideline and pretend to be injured.
Right.
Like, just because you don't feel like sprinting or just because you get beat one time doesn't mean that you're allowed to just slough off the rest of the practice. Like, you've got to finish the practice. I thought that was an important lesson to learn. And it is, because those are the things that I got out of playing sports. But when that lesson goes so far as you have to be so mentally tough that you are a rock and sort of an impervious to other outside things that are affecting you, where you can't tell somebody, like, hey, I'm really struggling mentally. And it's not that I don't want to finish this workout, it's that I feel like I don't deserve to be alive. Like,
And
those are
that's, I
different
think that
things.
there's a fine line of things, and I feel like I can never figure out where that line is, and I'm not sure anybody else has either, because you don't, I mean, exactly what you said. Like, you can't just decide 'cause you just don't feel like it that, you don't want to run. You've made a commitment to your team, so you have to get out there and you have to give it your all. You can't just half-ass it. But then you also want them to know that you're allowed to speak up when shit's not right. So,
Right.
and it's tough with the mental part of it because yeah, there's times where I blew stuff off because I just didn't feel like doing it. 100%. Could I have
Right.
blamed it on mental stuff? Probably. There's a line to walk there, and you have to somehow convey that. And I'm not sure if I'm doing it because I'm pretty sure my kid's super lazy. And according to my husband, I let
Right.
him get away with it because
I
I
mean,
don't
there's
want to be pushy about it.
once in a while. Like, you can in a workout be like, I'm just not gonna have it today. I just
Right.
don't have it today. And that's fine. But there's a difference between that and having to maintain this image that you have no emotion and you are
Right.
just a robot completing a task. And I think the way that we work through those struggles is we give the college athletes in particular, we give them the foundation that that lets them know that, hey, it's okay for you not to be okay. you can
Yeah.
you can come to me and be like, hey, I don't feel like finishing practice, and I'm not able to fully work through why I don't want to finish practice, other than I am currently thinking about why I need to keep myself alive.
Yeah.
Like, there was an article I read, what was the girl's name? Michaela Brewer. So she went to Stanford. She was a D1 Stanford basketball player. Like, articles about her in the press, and she has to be in the psychiatric facility. So she gets a 5150, which is a involuntary commitment to the hospital. And like she's not on the bench, the press is noticing that she's not on the bench, and everyone is throwing out these reasons why. Oh, she couldn't cut it, she couldn't handle it, oh, she got into drugs, all of these things. No one ever, not once, said, oh, well, she's probably struggling with mental illness.
Right.
She's like, that wasn't even a part of the narrative. That wasn't even part of like the wild things. One was that she was pregnant. It, like it never came up that she might be struggling mentally. And I think the way that you give these kids a framework for being able to say, hey, I gotta say something, is to constantly be talking about it. Yeah, is for Simone Biles, even though she doesn't want to end up being a mental health advocate. I don't think anyone gets into the game being like, you know what I want to do? Increase
Yeah.
awareness about this really painful thing until
Right.
that really painful thing happens to you.
Right.
And then I think you just do the best that you can. But I think that what Michaela is saying is that we're not talking about it enough, and we're not giving these kids the viewpoint that there are times when enough is enough. There are times when you can be so mentally tough that you're hurting yourself, and
Yeah.
you have to be able to judge that. And that, I think, is what we can do. Like that's kind of what turned it around for me and Olivia. I'm like, I'm not going to tell you how to play soccer. You know how to play soccer. I'm not going to tell you whether or not you're being lazy. I'm going to tell you that I don't want you to sell yourself short. I also want you to know that your performance or your participation in this, it doesn't change how I feel about you or how anyone feels about you. Like
Right.
these are your choices that you get to make, and that you have to make. You're the one that has to live with them.
Right.
Like you are the person that has to decide whether you are going to base your identity on your performance and your participation in this sport, or if you're going to base your identity on all of the good things that you can get out of participating in that sport.
Right.
Does that because that kind of resonates with me, and I think it kind of resonated with her when she came out of the psychiatric facility. She didn't play soccer. She's like, I don't want to do that anymore.
Hmm.
All right, no worries. I think it's important for you to figure out who you are, and I think I was interfering with you figuring out who you are independent of a soccer field. Now, she came back a year later and she was like, I miss playing. I miss being on the field. I miss having that outlet. I miss the exercise and all of the good things that come from that. And then I think once you can decide that it's you and not so much performance. Like it doesn't matter if I'm the best, or it doesn't matter. What I like is being on the field. What I like is being part of this group. Then you can get everything that you need out of sports, and we don't have to constantly put this kind of pressure on the kids. Am I
Right.
making sense? I feel like I've
100%.
said a lot.
You've said a lot, but it's all stuff that, I mean, this is exactly what I was talking about when I put in the notes that mental health in competitive environments. And yeah, I think we do need to put a lot of focus on the kids and on especially student athletes. It's a sad situation because like we started with, I mean, it goes one of two ways. Sports can be an amazing outlet, an amazing way to increase an individual's confidence, and can be a huge, huge, huge positive thing in their life. But then again, you have the other side of it where we might be pushing too hard. And maybe it's not even pushing too hard. Like you said, it's just a matter of letting these kids know that they're allowed to speak up about it. They're allowed to
Yeah,
bring it to someone's attention. They're allowed to say it. But we've built a culture around pushing and pushing and pushing and pushing. And the harder you push, the stronger you are. And the stronger you
right,
are, the better things people think about you. And that goes to work, that goes to mostly in competitive environments, which work is a competitive environment. We keep
right.
talking about how we want mental health to be at the forefront, and we want people to take care of themselves, and we want work-life balance and blah 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 blah. But at the end of the day, the person who's working 18 hours is they're on somebody's radar.
Yeah. I will say this. So the company that I work for right now really does a great job of putting an emphasis on the person. We have people who are going to be out for a month because they just need to be out for a month. So a an unlimited PTO policy here isn't necessarily a financial decision like I feel it is at most companies. So if you have an unlimited PTO, I don't have to track how much PTO I should have taken and how much money the company owes me when I leave. I didn't earn any PTO, so you don't owe me anything. I just take PTO as I need to. And our company tries to encourage people to do that every year. Like you you can take as much as you want. And you don't have to use that PTO when you're sick. We have sick time for that. Like
Yeah.
you you should be encouraged, and it's a place where we're able to talk openly about the situations that arise outside of the office. Like the one lady is caring for her mom, and assignments are made based on her ability to do that right now. In previous jobs, we have put people in categories like, oh, rock star, mid-level, it, barely doing the job. That's just the nature of how we would assign people to projects. And the one girl who was clearly up there in the rock star category, and to be fair, this was years ago. This was like 15 years ago, like just when I was getting into managing people. And she says, "Hey, I need to be off. I'm not going to be around. I have to take a break just for my own sanity." Okay, fine, we'll put you on short-term leave, whatever we had to do with HR. But in our department, she went from being a rock star to being someplace in that middle level. The idea was, now you're less than. Like, now
Yeah,
that you've
because
said you're
you
less
can't.
than.
You're labeled as someone who can't deal with it. You can't push through it. You can't.
Right.
You can't. You can't. You can't. You can't. Which is kind of shitty, and nobody questions. Well, what's going? What exactly is going on that's put you to this? That made you feel this way? Like, what have we done? Does anybody
Right.
question that? Like, what have we done that
Yeah.
is making you feel like this? What can we do to better things for you outside of here? And if you
Yeah.
need that 2 weeks, then you need that 2 weeks. And we should be probably talking about that a little bit more and not just saying, okay, well, take your 2 weeks, see you later. And then
Right.
talking shit
Oh,
on
I'm
them
so
while they're
sorry.
gone. And then
Right.
when they come back,
Like, wow.
expecting them to just jump right back into it and everything's going to be fine.
Right. I mean, it's the same thing with the student athletes, right? Like that's the connection between these two things. I was always really happy to be able to draw that connection. Like being on a team at work is like being on an athletic team.
Mm-hmm.
But people who are expected to just be unconditionally mentally tough and be unconditionally devoted to whatever endeavor they're doing, whether it's athletics or work, like the fear that your coaches, your teammates, your people at work will see you as weak and lose confidence in you. Athletes and like excellent workers are human beings, and my performance shouldn't be based on my ability to pretend I don't have any mental issues going on behind the scenes. And I will say from personal experience, trying to work through some of this stuff with Olivia and work at the company that I worked at the time was really unhealthy for me, because I was constantly pretending like I didn't need to be at home, and when I was at home I was constantly pretending like I didn't need to be at work.
Yeah.
And it took it took probably a year for that to completely implode, where I'm not going to be able to maintain either of these things. And rather than facing that in a way that let me step away and let me focus on the things that I needed to focus on, it just ended up with me being like, I quit. I can't be here anymore. I can't do this anymore. So, and it was unfortunate because I really liked working there, and they really valued their employees. That was a great place. It continues to win awards, but since it was something that I had trouble articulating. Like I couldn't go in and be like, "Hey, Olivia has a broken bone and we're going to have to deal with the broken bone for the next 6 months." Oh, and Olivia's broken bone is so bad she's going to be in traction and I
Yeah.
am going to have to really take care of her. Like I couldn't articulate it well enough at the time to be like, I need more help. And everyone tried. They're like, "Oh, well, do what you need, take what you need. We'll just assign all of your projects to other people. And then when you come back, you won't have any work to do," which is what I heard in my head. Like
Right.
when you come back, everybody else will be doing your job and no one will need you here. Not
Right.
necessarily what they were saying, but I
Right.
think the two of those things, me not being able to ask for help because asking for help was showing this weakness, and not being able, not for them to be comfortable enough to be like, hey, you're going through it. And we can see that you're going through it, and we suggest maybe this is a better option. Like, nobody there would, and I don't think in any work situation, maybe with the exception of my new company, nobody at the place that I worked then would have been like, hey, you need to take a step away,
Take a step
and we
back.
can promise you that when you come back, there won't be any stigma, and
Yeah.
when you come back and you're able to work again, you can show us how good you are at this again. So that's what I have to
Yeah.
say about that one. And I think those are some of the things that we can do. The article that Michaela What's Her Nuts wrote, Michaela, I keep scrolling down in the article. Um, Michaela Brewer, she wrote this one back in right when the NCAA was under all kinds of fire for having a lot of these Division One. I think there were three or four, two or three, more than one Division 1 college athlete died by suicide in a very short period of time. So the
Yeah.
NCAA kind of felt compelled to respond. And this article, and I'll put it in the show notes. This article, it talks about what the NCAA needs to do, and I think a little bit more broader, it's kind of what everybody needs to do. You need to recognize that there is a limit to mental toughness, and it doesn't make you defective. It just makes you human.
There's a limit to
And
how far your body can bend. There's a
right,
limit to
like
how far your body, your bones can go until they break.
if I've said it once, I've said it 100 times. 9 ladies can't have a baby in a month. It's biologically impossible. I mean, I'm using it for resourcing, but there are still things that are just impossible. Like,
Yeah.
and understanding that performance pressure and the fact that you're dealing with these Division 1 athletes that have been amazingly successful their whole lives by ignoring all of the all of the warning signs and all of the things that would have brought other normal people to their knees, that doesn't mean that there's not going to be something that doesn't trigger them.
Yeah. And that's
And
it, kind
I
of going to the pageant winners in recent news, Miss USA and Miss Teen USA. I won't even try to pronounce names because it's just not going to happen. But they both stepped down from their titles because of the organization around them and the toxic work environment that they've been in. And you wonder how many people before them had to suffer through that. And that's not
right,
just like being belittled or whatnot, but there's actual harassment going on there that people don't consider, stepping up and saying something about that, and the toll that things like that take on you mentally, and the ability to come forward and say, I'm not putting up with this bullshit anymore. I'm stepping down until people can learn what's actually going on in these organizations.
right, right. I mean, I think that's the trick, and I think for me, this week was kind of a hard week for podcasting. You guys are great. You funny boners are
You
some of my
funny
favorite
boners are
people
awesome.
on the planet. There haven't been as many funny boners. Like, starting out a podcast is super fun. Like, you get like 2 downloads and you're like, yay!
Yay!
But there's also decreasing returns for that. Like, we did fairly good this week compared to the first week, but not as good as we've done in recent weeks. So I was like kind of ready to chuck in the towel. I'm like, no one's listening. This is bullshit. Why are we even doing this? But I think the way that you change the narrative, not just around these student athletes, but around people in general and their ability to reach out for help, even when it seems counter to this mental toughness that we're all supposed to have in spades. Like, I think the way that you change that is to just keep doing what we're doing and trying to talk about it as much as we can. Trying to do it with a little bit of humor and talking about my stinky feet in the car. Um,
Stinky
but
feet.
but keeping it up and keeping moving forward, because I know that this is really vital and valuable for me. And
100%. And I think it's made
And I
a
hope,
huge difference for me. And I think we were both kind of having the same thought and looking at our numbers. But that's not what it's about. I think that's what we said at the beginning, that we weren't
right.
expecting a shit ton of people. We were expecting like 5 people to listen to it. So the bottom line is we have a few funny boners out there who are coming back every week. We have at least 3 funny boners that have wrote in saying that we've made a difference in some manner, you know, that they've made an appointment, they've talked to their doctor, they've taken steps that they were dragging their feet on until they listened to us. So I mean, even without them, like, I love the fact that we're reaching people outside of the two of us, but I think
Yeah.
most importantly, we've said from the beginning that this is for us. It's pretty awesome that we get to reach out for other people, but I think it's good that the two of us, again, it's kind of like a journey for us. And I think I said it last week. You know, I've read these self-improvement things. I'm like, oh yeah, that sounds great, that sounds great, but then I
Oh,
never do anything with it. And this is the first time in my life that I've talked about these things, and I've, you know, started learning about them and actually trying to apply them. And for a long time dealing with mental health stuff, I did think that medicine was the only way I was ever going to be okay. And yeah,
yeah.
I'll be on medicine for the rest of my life. And I love the meds. I'm all about the meds. People need the meds. Take the meds. But I also don't think up until recently that I really thought about coping mechanisms either, and other things that we can do outside of medication that can help you. And I think that's one thing that this is going to bring to me, are other ways to cope, to take a breath, calm down, decide not to race the teenagers, like make better fucking
Right.
decisions in life because of the
You
things that
should
you and I
not
are doing together.
give a fuck about those teenagers.
Exactly. Those teenagers can go fuck themselves.
All right. So
Dumbasses.
next week on the podcast, we are going to actually get into chapter 4 of
Yeah,
Subtle
we
Art of
skipped
Not Giving
it.
a Fuck. Yeah, we just had a lot to say about athletics and having been athletes and trying to raise athletes and being able to to talk about what kind of pressure that these kids put on themselves and then we put on them, and giving them a space to be who they are mentally. I think is was definitely worth our little side detour.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, for sure. I One of the things that I just wanted to say is that I know I continue to say that, you know, I can barely help myself. How am I going to help my kid? But coming back to that, and the coping mechanisms and things we can do to help our kids, and I think one of the best things we can do is just continue to ask them if they're okay, and continue to let them know that you are a sounding board for them, and that
yeah,
it's okay to not be okay. I know that's something that's, you know, they all
I mean, we
say
say it all the time.
it's all the time, but we have to know that it's okay to not be okay, because I still struggle with that. And I've been not okay for a long time.
Bringing
I
us
think
back.
there's plenty through it that we could cut out, but my
Yeah,
husband's
this was a
home,
long one. Yep, same. I got it. Obviously.
obviously. All right,
Um,
and I got to take the kid to soccer because he better
I love
fucking
it.
make this team.
Hey, Sarah, do you know who was a Division 1 athlete?
John Withrow.
Anyway, as we finish this episode, I want you to know that I am proud of you for taking care of your mental health and your sons this week. I'm proud of me for making so many appointments for all of us. And yeah, I love you, John Withrow.
Fuck. All right. Love you, sissy. Bye.
Love you. Bye.